call that the pendulum of justice, right? It swings hard left, it swings hard right. So when I was a younger student, I wanted to become a police officer, and Justice Rose Bird was in office. Anybody remember Justice Rose Bird? Yeah. She's a little bit kind of, how can I say it, lenient with offenders, a little bit. So the people of California say, hey, you know what, enough's enough, we want you removed. And then the pendulum of justice swing right. There's the war on drugs. I think Nancy Reagan talked about, hey, let's do this and that. You know, there's the crack cocaine issue. There's the Crips gangsters, this, that, and there's this big movement, right, toward suppression of crimes. And then what happened was we took a lot of people to jail. And then we learned that, hey, you know what? We can't just arrest ourselves out of a situation. We need to talk to the community and say, hey, you know what? What can we do to prevent your children from becoming a gang member? What can we do to intervene? Okay, I know you're a little bit upset right now with your ex-girlfriend. What can I do to calm you down so you don't take this bat and hit somebody? So this concept of enforcement, intervention, and prevention is starting to melt. And say, hey, let's just try many different ways to address the crime issue. To a degree, I think we've been very successful. The city's mayor's gang prevention task force, which I'm a member of, has been very successful. Because a lot of times I have these young kids, because I can lock them away, right? 12, 13, 14. I know I cannot lock them up, literally by law. For fighting, stuff like that at school, I can't lock them up. But what I can do is I talk to my counterparts in the city. I say, hey, you know what? Gang task force, you guys have these interventions. Can you talk to these youngsters and provide counseling? Can you take them to a basketball game and play basketball? Can you take them to trips, deep sea fishing, and etc.? And they've been doing that. I think to a degree they've been very, very successful in that. Now there's going to be some people, no matter what you do, they have made up their mind. I told you, that 1% always is my mindset. 1% of people is going to rob people, steal from you, have fraud, because that's their
people I'm talking about. I just wondered where the pendulum, is it still going to the left, or is it coming down where we're going to, keep them in custody for a while?
My personal perspective, I can only speak for myself. This is my personal opinion. I think it's still swing left. It's just, I've been a cop. This is my 30th year as a police officer. 28 years as with San Jose, 2 years at San Jose State. Before that, I was in college, 4 years studying law. I think it's still swing left. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think you guys all been around a little bit where, been saying what. The DOT guy seems kind of young. You guys seem real young. Just kidding. Okay, maybe I am. One last question.
Yes, Berkeley unit has been up to 8 now. Chiefs told us 6 months ago we're going to get 8 officers in there instead of the 2 that call me late at night.
So you're saying full staffing? What are you
full staff, because he said he's going to full staff those units now.
Which units?
The Berkeley one. There's one he mentioned that going up to 8 officers. He has 2 there now that work crazy hours.
Good question. I was talking to these 2 couples here a little earlier, and you guys had some really good questions. And they asked me a similar question, so I'm going to give you a little kind of like a broader perspective. We're finally hiring and able to retain police officers. We're talking about 50 plus, 50 plus, 50 plus. I believe someone's in the family member have experienced that
now. So that's
So yes. So we're finally hiring police officers, and they're willing to stay in the city. They're willing to say, hey, you know what? I got this wonderful 6-month training. I want to stay here. It's interesting because every day I go into night watch and midnight watch. I'm the captain. I stand in front. I'm like, hey, John, how you doing? I shake the hands with the rookies. How you guys doing? And I look at the first 3 row, and sometimes I use an expression. I'm like, hey, remember, don't forget to drop a dime, to call your mother on Mother's Day. And they'll look at me, and they're like, dropping a dime? What are you talking about? Kind of like that youngster right there. You have no idea what I'm talking about, dropping a dime. How about you? You understand what dropping a dime is? Yeah. Most of us do. Make a phone call. Back in the day, actually, there's phone booths, you drop a dime. 10 cents, that's a deal, isn't it, to make a call? My point is this. We have these officers that are so new. We're saying, hey, you know what? In Cinco de Mayo, sometimes these events happen. And to them, they have not experienced or heard about Cinco de Mayo. Remember like about a dozen years ago, there was like this big riot and oh my God, people did this, that. Well, those incidents does not happen like that anymore. In fact, some of these officers don't even live around here. They're not even familiar. Hey, why are there so many Mexican flags floating around Cinco de Mayo? We actually have to talk about it. There's another event. They call it Blessing of the Bikes, motorcycles. That used to be a real popular thing for like House Angel members, outlaw motors. We're talking about, hey, that might take place. And I get blank stares, just like that young man when I say drop it down. He had this blank stare, and they're like, bike blessing, what are you talking about? So again, I'd like to explain, hey, listen, when you pull motorcycle over there, you come in as, like a group of 6, 7, 8, Mo right there, good Lieutenant C. Chief smiling, because it's not what I'm talking about, because there was a time where Hell's Angel gamers were very active. They have firearms, methamphetamine, etc. But that was a different time. We don't have those issues like the way we do, but yet we have to talk about it. But my point is this, the academy only prepares them so much. I could talk about many things, but I'm that old guy now that could talk about things I'm not even actually on the street. But the young guys out there, they're actually experiencing, they're encountering, they're taking handguns off. So they're doing many, many things, but we're almost at a point where, there's a tipping point between experience and newness. You gotta have that equilibrium where the senior experienced people, hey, rookie, do this, this, and this for your safety. Do this, this, and this so this community is safer. Go out there and say hi to people. It's okay to go up to a certain, hey, my name's Johnson Vaughn, I'm working in a neighborhood. Hi. This is foreign to them. Because the average person is not going to, hi, how you doing? Running for office? If I were Vanessa, oh, okay, got it, you're running for office, got it. But I literally had to tell my officers, hey, I want you to do that. Say hi, wave at the kids. Yes, they actually like you. No, they really do. Before they hate you. And they hate us too. But you know what? It doesn't matter. He's cutting me off here. So to answer your question, the chief is planning to implement the Burglary Prevention Unit, a specialized group of police officers who are pulling senior officers, experienced officers, because if you have no experience being undercover, how are you going to catch these sophisticated thieves? So that is happening, and that's going to happen this year, and I'm excited. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Learned a lot. I'll vote for this young lady here. So my favorite.
Next, I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Mo from the CHP. Give us a little perspective on the different aspects of safety.
Thank you. Captain Fong's a tough act to follow. I want to introduce myself, Mo Edwards, Lieutenant San Jose CHP. It's an honor to be here. It's been a busy week for us. High patrol, a lot going on. To share some things that we have going on right now. How many of you are aware of a homeless problem going on? CHP has partnered with Caltrans, and it was a long time coming, but we're happy that we have an aggressive campaign to clear homeless encampments. We send 4 officers 5 days a week to clear homeless encampments throughout San Jose. How many homeless encampments do you all think are in San Jose?
Say again?
How many homeless encampments are in San Jose? Throw me a guess out there.
200?
Close.
Yeah.
Close. 225 homeless encampments in San Jose. Okay. So you can imagine you can only do so many in a week. I'm encouraging individuals, if you know of a homeless encampment and it's on state property, call us. If it's not on state property, call us. Okay. We'll try to get some direction and some help out there. But there was a time when I first got here, I've been in San Jose office for about a year. The cooperation with Caltrans and us wasn't there like it is now. Right now, this is probably one of the best aggressive campaigns I've seen in my tenure at the San Jose area office. How many of you are aware of street racing?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody like that? Okay. Street racing, I hate to say, is a pain in my you-know-what, but it's a pain in my you-know-what, okay? I ran a street racing detail out in LA where I was before I came to San Jose. And my phone rang constantly Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 12 in midnight. Every weekend with street racing. So yeah, street race for me is a pet peeve of mine. What we're doing in San Jose, we just got some training that was brought to my attention yesterday. So we're sending officers to training next month for street racing because what's coming up, folks? Summer. Summer's going to be here. Street racing's going to be here, okay? Guarantee you. So we're getting officers trained. The more officers we have trained, the more comfortable I feel on the weekends putting people in situations. Captain Fong mentioned Cinco de Mayo. 400 cars came to San Jose. Cinco de Mayo. How many of you knew about that? Exactly. Because it got handled. Okay, we got intel they were coming. Captain Fong's unit and my unit worked together, and you never heard nothing about it. Okay, we put resources where they need to be, and everything went away. That's how you effectively deal with street racing, because it's not coming. It's a way of life for these folks. It's not a fad. They'll be back this summer, and we'll be ready. So, that being said, also in San Jose, we're going to start a community-oriented policing program. COPS team is what we call it. And we'll have about 3 to 4 dedicated officers to handle traffic complaints, get out in the schools, unincorporated areas. We're looking at that. I've started a community group. Our first meeting was March. And it'd be nice to see LPNA come to our next meeting. We're going to have an open house at the San Jose area office. Okay, we'll have the helicopter fly down, have our motors. We might get a canine out there. You all are welcome. The reason why I want to have a community coalition is because public trust. It is huge because, like Johnson Fong said, I'm going to double down on what he said. Officers going up, meet in the community, say, hey, how you doing? I don't know what's going on, but it's different. Okay? When I came on, you spoke to people that you dealt with constantly. You were just, a humanistic approach to your job was very helpful in getting cooperation for the public. I've kind of lost that a little bit. So we as a department are going back to building trust with the public. I think the best way to do that is get out and mingle with the people that you serve. So that's what a community-oriented policing program was done. I ran one in Los Angeles, very effective, very effective. So I'm starting one out in San Jose. Wow. Am I okay? I mean,
Yeah.
all right. I'm just getting nervous. Be quiet.
Do you want questions at the end?
No, any questions anytime.
What did you say about something coming up that you think LPNA can
The open house.
Open house.
Where is that?
It's going to be at the San Jose area office. Area office. I will
Ice cream
contact.
too?
Pardon me?
Ice cream and, little refreshments here?
I'm not sure what we're going to do.
Take it out of Governor Brown's money.
I'm not going to comment on that. You can talk after me about that. So it'll be an opportunity for us to come together to talk about strategies, community strategies collectively, because my belief is what happens in your neighborhood is eventually going to get downtown and vice versa. So we all have collective issues, so let's do something, projects, clean up, whatever we can do collectively. It's easy to sit there and say, you cops don't do this, you cops don't do that, but I know we're stretched thin. I know Johnson Fong, me and him talk all the time. Staffing is tough for them too. That's not an excuse, it's just a reality. So let's bring the community together, let's do something we can collectively accomplish and build from there. Yeah.
So on back to the homeless thing, so is there any kind of working together, you're working with Captain Fong's group and stuff, but what about the city? It just seems like, you go and you sweep them and then they move over there and, is there any kind of concern? Do you meet with the city? Do you meet with any of the housing people, the shelters? And
let me say this, ma'am. I can't speak for the city, and I won't, okay? There's jurisdictional boundaries that we have, and we have to respect those. But I share your frustration, okay, because we get a lot of people from city jurisdictions that call us and say, hey, come out and do something, and we're like, we could come out and do that, but San Jose PD may have an issue with that. So I'm not here to talk about what's wrong and what's right. Homelessness is not a crime, okay? Homelessness is not a law enforcement problem, it's a societal problem. So we have cleared out several encampments, and you're right, come right back, okay? So,
Or they go next door.
Or they go next
Go
door.
down the street.
It's like kicking the can up the road. That's what I'm saying. That's why I want to have a meeting with the community. What I have done, and I can just talk about it in the CHP world, like I said, we have an aggressive campaign now, one of the best I've seen since I've been in this office. When we shoot somebody out, I send an officer there hours, maybe the next morning, to ensure that they don't come back.
But
that only puts a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
right, are you giving them, I mean, are you trying to get them in touch with services?
We have tried to get them in touch with services. I've had people tell me, I don't want your services. Don't want it.
So that you just tell them go. We don't care where you go.
Go. I had a community meeting last night, right here. Lady said, where do they go? And I said, they're not going home with me, so I don't know what to tell you. Okay? It's just like I've been saying, you kick the can up the road. You know? And I had a long talk with a young lady after the meeting I had yesterday. I mean, Santa Clara County is one of the richest counties in the state. Okay? You have Oakland, the city of Oakland, they bought tough sheds, 50 of them. Okay? They put them in a concentrated area. They got porta potties, little showers. Does it solve the problem? No. But they're in a concentrated area, which means that they're not roaming around the freeway and the city streets where they can get hurt. And if you have to deal with something, they're in one area. Let's be honest. Oakland ain't got San Jose money. So what are we going to do about it? So I heard that was brought to the city of Santa Clara County, and they said, oh, no, can't do it. We'll give you a voucher for a hotel room. Well, what does that do? That's what I'm saying. It's frustrating for me, too, because that's resources I could be doing something else. But I'm dealing with the homeless, and it is what is part of the job. Yeah. But it puts us in a very precarious situation. Last night I mentioned when we have a job fair, we have job fair for people who look for what? Jobs. So why can't we put together a homeless fair for the homeless so we have those resources in one location? If you don't take it, that's up to you. But at least we're doing the right thing. We'll get the media out there. We'll get some social consciousness out there. That's all you can do. So, people seem to like that idea, but, sir.
So, just last year, Blossom Hill, you guys cleaned that whole mess out. There's 100 shopping carts there. It's overwhelming. I think Target and Safeway had to go by a whole bunch of times to get the carts. And that's just one area. How many of these different areas, I see people walking on the freeways, now the signs are saying, watch out for walkers, because they're walking, cleaning their laundry on the side of it, and you can't keep up with it.
You cannot keep up with it. You hit it right on the head. I'm on a traffic stop. I'm in the office now. You know, my days are behind me. I'm letting these young pups do the thing now. But I'm out there. I like to get out there and get off my butt and go out there and enforce the law. I'm writing a ticket. I turn around, homeless guy just sitting there like this. And I'm like, crap. Now I could have got jumped, stabbed, and all that. And you look around here and there's like 10 people in this little homeless encampment right on the side of the freeway. So it's not only a traffic safety issue, it's an officer safety issue. But the question is, okay, we go clean it out, then what? They go right back or they go somewhere else. I had one situation where a lady said, I'm having a party right here in my backyard. On the other side, people are defecating on my fence. Some people are, now she's got a party going on. Some people on there having sex. And she's got a party going on. What are you going to do about it? Okay, man, went there, cleaned them out. Next week, she has people over, same thing. What do you want me to do? It's not, homelessness is not a crime. We're being asked by the city of San Jose to help clean out the waterways. There's a lot of waterways in this city I didn't know about. I'm like, but it's so much pollution, defecation in the water. Fish and Game doesn't have the staffing to deal with it, so they come to Highway Patrol. Well, we got Levi Stadium, 17. We got all kinds of stuff going on. I'm not making an excuse, I'm being honest, but it's just we're being spread thin, but it is what it is, man. I mean, we can only do what we can do. That's why.
How many officers do you have in our area here?
We have, San Jose CHP has 85 sworn officers.
And where's their district? From where to where?
We cover Santa Clara County up to Morgan Hill. That's the Gilroy CHP. Take it from there. So it's a big area. We have a lot of officers, but we have officers working over here, overtime. I mean, it's just, we're pulling in so many different directions. And I don't want to bore you with that. That's what we deal with. But homeless issue is a problem for us as well, street racing as well, and we're doing the best that we can to address it accordingly. Any other questions?
Thank you very much for that.
Yes.
Thank you. So, the homelessness thing, we've had several meetings on it, and it's a big problem that the city is working on also, as we know, and a lot of us here know. So next up, we've talked about our park. And we're going to talk about the park first. David.
I'm Dave Mitchell, I'm the park planner.
Los Paseos Park. David Mitchell's helped us a lot along the way. It's helped us upgrade it.
So the Capline money, you ended up selecting 3 projects. And the 3 projects is at Los Paseos Park is the lighting project, a shade project over the play area, and a shade project over the Metcalf play area. I got in the elevator with a council member on Tuesday and had a look at him and says, I have to eat crow, because I thought I'd have these projects done by June 30th. So the electrical lighting, the solar lighting project, the city has bought the lights. The contract for the installer to install them is sitting on the new Director of Public Works' desk to be signed. And once that's signed, then that work can go forward. So roughly in 2 months, the solar lights should be up in Los Paseos Park. On the shade structures, when I first got from the vendor, the cost of the shade structures was basically the total amount of the money that we had to do the project. So we had to kind of rethink that, and we've kind of worked up a good scenario that I'm happy with. And I've talked to the folks in our public works facilities. They're going to run the contract to actually end up putting in those shade structures. They're going to actually have their contractors buy the shade structures and put them up. And so hopefully that'll be done by the end of the summer. Should be happening.
Or August?
End of the summer, which is mid-September. You know, hopefully earlier, but
All right.
I'll go with that. And obviously had a tree planting in the park recently. And any questions that I may be able to not answer, that I can take and get it to the right person.
So I saw the trees planted, that's great. Trees go to maintain the water and stuff.
That I do not know. In your case, what the community came up with, I know.
If you're talking about the ones along Santa Teresa, or the ones in the park. We planted 10 trees in the park,
Yeah.
and we're taking care of that, some Los Paseos Neighborhood Association members.
Quite a few on that.
But you're talking
side,
about the ones
fence
along
on
Santa Teresa, by the PB process.
And that's either DOT or
Yeah, that's
DOT raised their hand, so it wasn't the school.
to answer that question would be our city forest. They have a contract with DOT, and they'll be establishing those trees over a 3-year period, so they come out and add water them.
Establishing, does that mean planting, or do you mean just maintenance?
It means ongoing maintenance with young tree pruning, ensuring the staking and guidance is done correctly, and also providing water.
Any other questions for David? David, I want to thank you for all your help along the way. We've had lots of good meetings in the Los Paseos Park, and we really appreciate your help in getting us moving along here. We've had some members in our neighborhood association that were part of that PB process. We're very thankful to you also.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, maybe Adriel can give a little update. Also, what's happening in the park. Adriel Castro.
Thanks, Greg. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I'm pretty lucky because I have everybody here beat. I got the most exciting thing to talk about, and that is parks. Hopefully you're excited as I am. My name is Adriel Castro. I'm the senior maintenance worker for Parks District 1. We handle parks and council districts 2, 9, and 10. We have about 32 different facilities that range anywhere from regional parks to this library to lots of miles of trail to neighborhood parks to community centers to all sorts of different facilities that we actively manage and maintain. In our district, I have about 13 full-time employees as well as 5 part-time employees that are on 3 separate routes that we have corresponding to the different areas we maintain. So we have a Santa Teresa route, which is the LPNA has the lucky opportunity to be in. They take care of parks such as Calero, Cahalan, Comanche, basically everything along Blossom Hill, all the way up to about Ramick. We have an Almaden corridor, and those guys take care of a lot of the trails. They take care of Almaden Lake Regional Park, a lot of the parks up that expressway there. And then we have our, what we call TJ Martin Fontana Park Park route. They take care of neighborhood routes west of Almaden, all the way up to about Dianza Park and Almaden and Weiner. We work with all kinds of organizations, neighborhood organizations, nonprofit organizations, organizations like the LPNA, the MFPA, the Almaden Women's Club. We work with a host of organizations that are things like PG&E. We work with DOT. We work with the Water District. We have a lot of different rights of way that we have, especially along our TJ Martin Park corridor, where we have PG&E wires that go over the entire expanse of our park. So getting anything done there requires permit upon permit upon permit for basically anything to happen. We have priorities such as safety, and right now our priority is safety and irrigation. Now is about the time when we're turning back our irrigation clocks, getting them back on, trying to get those grasses green for summer. Much like my predecessors speaking here, we're spread pretty thin. Those 13 full-time employees, for instance, the LPNA, the gentlemen who take care of that route, they have 13 facilities, and there's 3 full-time and 2 part-time employees, so we're spread pretty thin. We do what we can with what we have. Kind of that being said, I wanted to go over some park concern issues with you guys and how you guys can report your park concerns. That would be the easiest way to get them to the right people. I know that every time you're at a park, people notice things. We notice them all the time. And it's nice for you to be able to get your concern to somebody who's going to help you or someone who's going to be able to take care of the situation. I don't know how many times I've been handed something onto my desk that has nothing to do with our area, yet we try to push you along to the right person so that you can get your issues addressed in as quickly a time frame as possible. So I have with me a couple of business cards that are for our park concern line. You can actually use these to, it's probably the fastest way to get a concern to us. So it's either through email or through a phone number. You'll call, a nice person will answer the phone, basically take your concerns, take whether you want to have a callback or not. They will issue out a work order. That then gets sent by email to whatever park district it pertains to, and that kind of starts the worker bees out of the hive to go start taking care of things. Now, there are certain things that do take us a lot more time than other things. There are things that we take as purely informational. So there are some things, like I was saying, that take a little more time than others. Things that we're going to respond to right away is things like safety, public safety. If there's a branch hanging out over a playground, if there's a swing that's busted, those are things we're going to be able to take care of right away. We're going to send someone out to take care of that, or at least make it safe. Other things that we may not be able to respond to right away, one of my big ones right now is actually rodent abatement and mowing. Unfortunately, in our district, we only have 2 mowers. When those mowers go down, I'm subject to the same as the DOT guys, as the officers. We all have to go through fleet. They're just as backed up as we are. So sometimes I get in a position where we have a mower that's down for a month. Something like that, we may not be able to address right away. We're kind of at the mercy of our mechanics. So certain things we may not be able to address as quickly, But we can definitely get you in contact with someone that can educate you on why the situation is what it is, and possibly give you an ETA for a quick resolution to your concern. Other than that, I think I'm pretty open for questions if you folks have any.
The trees between the sidewalk and the street, is that park's responsibility? If it's in a park, you know, you have a park, and then you have there's trees along the street.
Okay, so you have street side, curb and gutter, and then you have tree, sidewalk, park, you're saying?
Yes.
Yes, most of our property goes all the way to the edge of the sidewalk. We call that our front doorstep. So we will do trees basically up to the edge of the facility if that is in our actual territory. We do share a lot of weird property with schools. We share property with PG&E. We share property with Water District. So if it is in our actual area, we will take care of it.
What about between the sidewalk and the street? You guys, you go to the curb of the street, or you go to the sidewalk?
To the curb of the street, to the edge, where the gutter is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, most likely, if it's a parks environment, it's going to be ours.
Okay.
Any other questions?
When you gonna get rid of all those gophers?
Oh man, so that's one. That's a pretty passionate one for me right now. I'm gonna be a realist, and I'm gonna try, if I can, to educate you guys on kind of our situation with rodent abatement. Right now, we use various methods. Trapping. We used to use bait stations. We're currently using something called Gopher X, and what that is a carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide gas, basically that.
No, you don't kill them, do you?
Yeah. They never come out of the hole, so I can't tell you.
Good answer.
So right now, what the situation that we have is there's a lot of areas that we have that are really close to kind of natural riparian corridors, creeks, trails, regional parks. So we have a major infestation at the point where I'm having a lot of my infrastructure being undermined. I have cement areas, playground areas, asphalt areas that are just crumbling through to the ground because our hands have been tied for the most part. We do have some potential ideas that we're looking towards. They're kind of unpopular because it's not a popular subject. It's, quite frankly, it deals with death and it deals with poisons and things like that, and it's not something people are very comfortable to speak about. Now comes the education part. With our hands tied, there's a lot of things that happen. We have that obvious undermining of infrastructure. We have our fields that are so pitted and riddled with gopher holes that they're basically unplayable. I have fields that, in some instances, look like Swiss cheese. I would not let anybody run on them. They're that dangerous for people's ankles. Like I was saying, the reality is with our hands tied, it's very difficult. What it comes down to is, do the citizens of San Jose want to deal with potential safety issues, or with the reality that